Here in a rather glorious garden in London in the UK, and it's a glorious morning. The air is clear. It's a little bit cool, but warming up to a day of about 22-23 degrees here in the city. And I just have some tired wake up eyes and woke up with a couple of thoughts. And the thoughts particularly are around balance in nature and in our personal and working lives. This place that I'm staying in London has got a beautiful building where you can stay, and also a couple of rooms in this secret garden I'm sitting in right now. And one thing I love about this as a writer is I get a balance that I need for my creativity, and I put that to you whenever you're trying to creatively flow, do some thinking or produce something. Maybe you're writing something, it might be an article or a blog. And the thing I found about my balance is I like the balance of both the urban and the rural, the city and the natural world that you often find in the countryside. And as I sit here in a fairly large garden, you can probably hear in the background the city also is waking up. It's actually a Monday morning, and I always find Monday morning is a wake up time in my home city of Brighton, and I go and sit in Pavilion Gardens Cafe, and I love that sound. Probably here in the background, I think the rubbish is being collected. There are aeroplanes here flying over, and you can see their trails in the blue sky as they take off or land, I think from Heathrow Airport on this flight path. It might be London City as well. And I like that balance. At 4:30 this morning, I sometimes wake up, if you open the door here in the garden of the garden room, you get the dawn chorus, and also you get the sounds of a few cars going by and the planes going overhead. And for you that might sound quite jarring, but for me it's the bird song and sometimes the sounds of the breeze. And this particular garden has a beautiful little fountain that mimics a stream. It's called a flow form, and you get all of those noises mixed together, and I find I stir, I wake up creatively and have maybe thoughts like this. So my balance is to be in a place of both rather than either or. Now, some of you might like to go out into the countryside if you're lucky enough to have some of that nearby. Hear the noise here of the rubbish being collected, and you get complete nature. There are still places you can go where there is literally no sound, although it won't be long usually before an aeroplane flies over. You can get much closer to nature. Whether you go camping, you're just going walking, you're in a shepherd's hut, which are not cheap, but you're going to get away from the city, and you'll find there that your balance is that you need the extreme before you go back to the city. And it's important to know that. And I do know a few other people who absolutely cannot get creative when they're so extremely in nature. It's a place to not do, it's a place to be. Other people get their creativity slap bang in the middle of the city, and they go and sit in a Starbucks with their laptop and they flow. And for them, therefore, the balance is to have that extreme. And it may well be that when they go home to the quietness of their own home or for a walk in the park, it's about not doing anything at all there, because they get their extreme flow in the urban environment. But let's just say I need both, and I notice in Brighton, where we live by the sea, I don't get down to the sea much. But there are places by the sea that I like to do that as well. There's a cafe, if I walk into town from where I live, halfway along, where actually there is a cold water, well not fairly cold water, it's supposed to be heated, swimming pool, but there's a cafe there where you can feel the sea air, look out to sea, you can sit indoors or outdoors. And again, I get that balance. Similarly in Brighton's Pavilion Gardens Cafe, which is opposite the Royal Pavilion, and there are trees and there are squirrels and there are birds, but there is also the noise of New Road behind there where the Theatre Royal is, and where you get all kinds of noises and sounds. And it's that noise maybe and that nature that reminds me that I find my balance in between the two. And I think it's key, if you're looking in your life, to find that creative balance and that zone. Now your balance might be a very particular place where you get 50-50 or some combination of two. Your balance might be in the extreme, that's where you find your flow, and then you need to get away. For some people it's alternating. It may well be that you need to go into nature for a while and you get certain kinds of creative thoughts. And you might take a notebook with you, you might take a voice recorder, and it could be then when you come back to the city and you sit at a desk in an office that you get a more functional creativity. But your block can come because you're only in one and you're not experiencing the other. Or your block can come because you're experiencing both on the extreme and you're not finding this balance that I'm finding right now in flow. Because as I look in front of me, I think I'll turn this camera around, you can see the beautiful garden and the flowers and the big house. But you can also find not just one or the other, but both. And that really gets me in the flow. Now that relates also to your digital life too, about having a balance between being physical and digital, and encouraging you, if you've not written for a long time, is to explore just buying a notebook and getting different kinds of thoughts. It might just be words, phrases or little drawings, but having that alongside your laptop, having that alongside your ChatGPT dictation, as more and more people are doing, prompting it to do their creativity with them or for them. And to maybe try these different styles and see what works for you. I've got notebooks with me, and one of the books I'm writing at the moment, which is going beautifully more slowly, is with a real notebook and a pen. And interestingly, the real notebook and the pen, I tend to find I write better in a sort of cafe that's not even vaguely close to nature, maybe even one of the coffee chains. And it's actually sometimes getting the digital device like this out into nature that things seem to flow for me. And it will be different for you, and it might be different at different times. But if you're interested in flowing in your digital life, it might be worth thinking about whether you're just defaulting now to your digital device. But it might be worth thinking about using your voice, talking into a camera, or just sitting and having a think, and maybe jotting a few notes down in a notebook. And from a productivity point of view now with generative AI, you can of course photograph just scrawled notes, and it's got a high degree of recognition. Even of drawings, it can interpret them. And if that works for you, that's fine. But for me at the moment, it's coming up to 7:30 a.m. Breakfast is calling, and I've just got that little bit of creative flow here in the little haven of nature that I'm sitting in, but with the noise of the city all around me.